Yeah, this is what I do with Goodman, you know. And like I said, I was talking to the dude that was on the show the other day, Tyler Nelson. It's like, I make fun of Goodman, but it's not really about Goodman. It's just fun in general. So that's what I try to say. I don't hate Goodman. I feel like that's the devil I know, actually. That's what I feel like. Because I feel like I
Yeah,
could build one myself. I've been working with them for so long. So it's comfort. It's like family.
I feel the reason that Goodman gets a really bad rap is because they are so inexpensive. You can Joe Blow down the street can grab one and throw it in, and it's more about the installation issues than it is the system itself.
I think that's true. I think they get a lot of that. People can buy them everywhere. And even like the places like Johnstone, I don't know how they are now, but it used to be Johnstone would accept people that weren't licensed to buy Goodman units from them. They would let them purchase them. Like places like Ari Michael, I mean, they have a huge sign on the door that says, if you don't have a license, you are not buying equipment. But Johnstone's like, yeah, whatever. You got money? Okay, here's your unit. Save 8% off your order at TruTechTools.com by using the Shop Talk discount code. Good morning, HVAC bros out there. Today I will be heading down into the great nothingness and the great abyss down there to rip out some ductwork. Because like I always say, guys, there ain't nothing better than HVAC ductwork. Well, I just removed some of the flex off of the old plenum here, kind of checking things out on the inside. It's a little dirty, but we cleaned it up. Unit's being reused, and looks like somebody's been doing a little thieving. That is not the Navac tubing cutter's work right there. I took the P-traps, that's plural, there's two of them here, and took them off, and look how blocked up that is. You know, because this is in the crawl space, it's been blocked up for a while. Dear me. Good grief, there's a lot of stuff in there. I have to investigate. Little forensic HVAC here. Guys, I picked up my branch off into the Milwaukee realm here. It's a M12 stuff. Thought it'd be perfect for this sort of thing. And I'm gonna give them a shot and try to expand my brand categories. I removed all of the flexible ducts, all the branch runs that go everywhere. For the most part, I think I got them all, yeah. Got them all. And I just have the air handler itself. I might just drag it out as one big long piece and cut these trunks off because they're mastic. Oh, pretty good. I had to remove the electrical up here, the little black wire you see running into the top of the air handler. Someone has nicely severed the wire that went outside when they stole the copper. And I just got to cut the other wire and roll it back up there and store it for later. And to get this thing out of here, then I'll just be, I guess I'll be done. I have the air handler opened up here, and I'm just kind of looking around. This air handler is supposed to be reused. This one, I don't know, this has had water sitting in it and stuff. So this is one of them things where you know, guys, I'm not a great salesman, but I do have to mention the fact that this thing looks like it's been through the mill, and it is questionable for the future. How's that? That's vague enough. This is all our debris from under the house. A lot of flex duct straps. Having it be all flex duct makes it a lot easier than having to disconnect a bunch of hard pipe. So that was a lot better. All of these are bath fans and the dryer vent. A little bit of plumbing. Then we have our plenums over here, and you can see, probably take a picture of this. It's nice to have a picture of stuff so you can see what size everything was. Or you can measure them out and write them down. That's why I left the boots on the floor, so I can come back and see what size the round was going to the boots. But it looks like a couple of 14-inch returns. Yep, that's everything out of there. There's our air handler, the Dirty Bird. And I'm gonna go see if he wants me to cut off some of these plumbing pipes and stuff, because they're moving this house. But I think the issue is a lot of the plumbing is still connected, and the guys are supposed to be showing up tomorrow to get started with the house moving. And a lot of the electrical wires are still connected, like the pump wire and the wire to the disconnects for the heat pumps. So I'm gonna do him a solid and see if I can't disconnect those for him in exchange for money. Uh-oh, guys, it looked like ne'er-do-wells have been here and stolen copper, because only ne'er-do-wells use this type of tubing cutter right here. Okay, guys, I need to know if you can hear me. Basically, can you hear me? Can you hear me? That's all I need to know. I can hear myself, but I don't know. I don't know, guys. I really don't know, and I'm afraid. I'm afraid that we're just never going to make the show work, and everything's going to fall apart. So just let me know if you can hear me. And then we'll get this thing started for real. Oh, that's good. Okay, so you can actually hear. Okay, well, I don't know why it says you can't. Okay. It's a bunch of crap. I think something happened on my computer that caused a horrible problem. And I'm going to blame, like, the manual I was going to read. I don't know why. I'm going to blame the manual. As I see my children driving in, and I give them some hand signals through the window. Stay away from me working. All right, so I'm glad you can hear me, guys. This is HVAC Shop Talk. My name is Zach Ciota. I'm presiding over what is quite the leaky ship here, because I got on here and all of a sudden the computer no longer recognized my microphone, didn't recognize the headphones. It was just a debacle. I don't know why it is, but for some reason this particular audio interface doesn't want to be recognized sometimes. Like me, just wants to lay low for a while, which I can understand. Now, what I'm doing here while I'm on the fly is I'm trying to find some of the manuals that I was looking for to read with you guys, because it was really interesting to me. Hey, it was interesting. And hopefully you can still hear me. If at any point you can, of course, you can speak up in the chat as I watch my son get out, stumbling around, all the garbage on the ground that I pulled out of the car earlier that belonged to him, as he walks inside and ignores all of it. My daughter sits in the truck and just plays TikTok for a while and plummets into the American abyss. Okay, so lots of stuff going on here today. We had, let me lay some framework here for you guys, because before we get into the manual, it was quite the day today. So we wake up in the morning. It's around 10 o'clock. I've taken my little son Jackson to school. He's off learning how to count to 10 and such. And I get a message from our kids that there is some sort of issue at the school, and they're actually being evacuated. They put every single child at my 3 kids' high school onto buses and evacuated them to another local school because of a bomb or shooter, is what they said. It later came to pass that there was some sort of bomb threat that was a credible bomb threat. So the Sheriff's Department and Emergency Services had to sweep the school looking for this bomb, which is odd because yesterday we had a similar threat to another local institution that's an educational institution here, probably about 20, 30 minutes away from here, with a suspicious package. Very strange, but for some reason, somebody called in a bomb threat, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know the validity of the threat. They said it is one of the things they took seriously, but they do not know, or we do not know, if there was actual bomb there or what. I guess not, because they cleared it and they came back. So I guess if they would have found a bomb, they would have spent the rest of the day looking for more bombs. I have no idea. But it was an interesting day. We brought the kids home early. I took them back and dropped them off because you couldn't go back and get your car or anything like that. My son had driven my truck. He typically drives my GMC truck to the school every day, and I drive the Equinox taking Jackson to school. And so we had to go back and get the truck after school because they had ROTC Raiders practice, because they're going to the Best of the Best competition in Virginia, and they need to practice every single day because that is a really big deal. They passed the regional, I guess, and now they're going to a wider region, and then if they pass that, they go to nationals. So it's really, really exciting. And, my son came out with a trash bag, and he actually got the trash. Unbelievable. It's just a great day to be alive, guys. It's fantastic. So that was pretty exciting. Hopefully there's no more excitement for the rest of the week. I'm going to go ahead and say in advance here, I'm not sure if I'll be streaming tomorrow or not. I have an idea that I might go pick up some cheap paneling at Lowe's and put up some paneling in here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to panel the walls in whatever is the cheapest material I can find, and then put some sort of sound dampening apparatus on top of it, maybe those little 2x2 squares, 1x1 squares, whatever. But I'm going to put the paneling on the wall because I want to go ahead and get the mini split, which is going to go right there, up on the wall, so I can start conditioning this room, because today it is warm. It is 85 degrees outside today. This room is well insulated. I mean, it's comfortable in here, but eventually you're going to have a similar humidity inside here that you're going to have outside, and it's just not comfortable. It's okay here. I have my little fan, little Honeywell tower fan over there, giving me just enough air to be comfy. But you know what? It needs to be done before summertime, so I might do that tomorrow. I love streaming so much, guys. It's kind of hard to break away. I know on Saturday I'll be working on installing some ductwork, so I won't be able to do it then. And Sunday afternoon, I'll probably have to mow the grass because we had a thunderstorm, and man, that stuff is out of control. One rainstorm here in North Carolina in the spring and summertime, and the grass grows like a foot. I crap you not. And for the Ryobi electric lawnmower or battery-powered lawnmower, it is a tall order to cut that grass. So even with my 4 batteries, I don't get to cut the whole yard with that. That's 3 4-amp-hour batteries and a 2-amp-hour battery, and I could probably cut about half or 2/3 of the yard with that, just because there's so much yard here. Going to the chat real quick before we move on. We have John Harrell says, where in Virginia? Where in Virginia? It's going to be Hampton Roads. That sounds really familiar, like that's the actual place where we're going. Now I can't for the life of me think of where we are going in Virginia. Let me Google Maps on my phone right here, see if I can't figure it out. I know it's in Central Virginia. I know I'll remember if I see it. All right, let's see. You can zoom in here. It's not Washington, D.C. That's too far. Oh, man, I feel like I'm right here where it's at, but I cannot think of where it's at. Oh, Hampton Roads. Man. No, it's not Norfolk. It's in the central part of the state. Like, it's west of Richmond. I know that, but for the life of me, I can't remember where it's at. It's going to bother me. And we can't spend the whole show me looking for it, but part of me really wants to, guys, because I need to find this place so I can answer this question. And now I'm genuinely curious about where it's at. I don't know. Maybe it is Hampton Roads, because that sounded really familiar, or somewhere near there. I don't know. Steve, HVAC Residential Basics, says you can get dry erase board very cheap, and then you can draw on it during your live streams. Hey, believe it or not, Steve, on the other program that I used to use when I did skilled trade up and stuff, there's a dry erase function where you can draw on it. And if I ever get the gear set up to the maximum potential, I'll go ahead and restart that function. And we can do stuff like that because it comes in handy when you're doing like schematics or discussing some of the components and things like that. It's nice to have that dry erase function. But, here, Brandon says, don't put paneling on the walls unless you plan on leaving AC on all the time because the paneling will warp like crazy. Maybe you got a point there. I'll check and see what they got. There's some kind of cheap board that they have, because I just want something cheap. I don't have money falling out the sky right now, especially with everything going on in the economy. So I'm trying to find something cheap to put on the wall. I don't want to do a whole bunch of drywall crap because it takes too long, and I'm going to put a bunch of soundproofing on top of it anyway. So I want something I can mount to rather easily, even if I only staple them in place or what. I don't know. You guys can give some more suggestions. John Harrow, it's going to bother me. I can't think of where the place is at. I don't know. Man, oh man. Dylan Godwin says, for a lawnmower, I would think you would want like a 12 amp hour battery. Yeah, the 4 amp hour battery for the Ryobi, it's like a 21 inch mower or something like that. It runs for about half an hour, 45 minutes. So it's not too bad. But my batteries have been around for a while, so I'm sure they're not as good as they once were. And the 2 amp hour I have is reconditioned. I got it with a pole saw that I bought because this pole saw was on sale. 40 volt Ryobi pole saw with a 2 amp hour battery and everything. It was on sale for like $70, and I wanted to chop a bunch of limbs off on my neighbor's driveway where my trees overhang, so it ended up really well. But I mean, yeah, the lawnmowers, they kind of suck down those batteries, so it'd be nice to have whatever the maximum is. Ryobi has like a 7.5, I think is the maximum. It would be nice to have that, but I do not. But I just have to use a whole bunch of batteries. That's okay. That's all right. I get that new Milwaukee mower. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That sucker is a straight up beast. It takes two 12 amp hour batteries. It only mows like a third of an acre. So you know that thing is powerful, very powerful. They said it's like an actual gasoline mower, and it's for landscapers. It's for professional use for people that are just trimming out the yard after they use the big mower to cut the grass. So you just get, around the edges of like flower beds and things like that. You know that thing's a beast. It's self-propelled, which I don't care about self-propelled because to me, cutting the grass is like a workout because you walk and push the mower. You burn like a lot of calories cutting the grass. It's like, I don't know, 500 or 600 calories every time I spend like a couple hours cutting the grass, or an hour, really. It's just over an hour. So it's a really good workout. So I don't mind that. If it's like 95 degrees outside, sometimes a little bit of a chore. But most of the time, I cut it in the evening when it's still light out, like 7 o'clock. You want to time it where it's late enough in the day where it's cool enough, but early enough where the mosquitoes haven't woken up and come out to bite you, because they do get up at dusk and they love to light you up, especially here in North Carolina. HVAC Residential Basics says, get some free pallets and take them apart. Dude, I totally thought about if I had enough pallets, just taking them through the little planing rig that I built and putting them all down the wall. It'd be like an accent wall on every wall. But the sheer amount of pallet boards would be so many. I don't know if I could come up with enough pallet boards fast enough. But man, I did think about that. And it would look really good, even with like a clear coat on them and no stain or anything. Because the pallet boards, they already look pretty neat because they've been weathered a little bit usually. Oh man, I thought about that. Even maybe like half the wall and pallet boards, like you would have wainscoting or something. And then have the other half in like a white color or whatever people do. But still, I want to put the not insulation, but something sound dampening, because right now it's great in here. Like with just the insulation in the walls, it's really, really, there's no sound bouncing off. So it sounds really good when I'm recording, but when I put all the walls up, it's still going to start bouncing again, so it's going to drive me nuts. So I'm going to have to put something up on top of the walls. Brandon says, I use a 54-inch Cub Cadet zero turn. Yeah, they even have zero turn mowers out there. I know this is not HVAC mower talk, but we all have to mow the grass, so it's interesting to me a little bit just to talk about mowers. So bear with me here. We'll get to the HVAC stuff in a second. So I know they have zero turn mowers and like 48 volt or something like that, Ryobi mowers, where you put these large, I don't even think they're the 40 volt batteries. I think they have a different battery, and then you could add your 40 volt batteries to it for extra charge. It was like a really weird system. It was a new thing they were doing. I don't know how far that runs. I can't imagine that the same batteries I use on my pole saw could run a huge zero turn mower for very long. I don't know. But I mean, it'd be worth a shot to kind of investigate. That'd be cool. Mike Timmons says, how about old barn wood? I mean, that's the same sort of thing as a pallet wood. If I could find a whole bunch of them, because some of these pallets are like 5 inches wide and some of them about 3 inches wide. They're a little bit more than that. So you could get enough through enough time. But I mean, summer's coming, so I'm kind of worried about doing that sort of thing, even though I think it would look awesome. But I don't know how it would be acoustically
It would be better than drywall, I think, because wood is, in general, it's okay. Because once you put wood furniture in a room, it dampens the sound a little bit. But I'm just wondering, I might have to put like something over all of it. That's what I'm worried about. I might have to like cover all of it with sound dampening stuff. Mike Timmons says, he said barn wood. Dylan Goodwin says, what about beadboard panels? I thought about that too. I know they have different kinds of panels at Lowe's, 4x8 sheets. They have like the old stuff you see in the 1980s sunken living rooms, the brown paneling board that goes around with the little nails you put in. It comes off real easy and comes on. I mean, that's actually, I think, like $20 a sheet now, if I saw that correctly. I know there's a piece of whatever at Lowe's for like $8 or $9 a sheet. I know it's going to be like the worst thing. But as long as it's slightly above cardboard, it might be just what the doctor ordered. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know if it's one of them things where you put a nail in it, you can pull it out with your finger. I mean, we don't want that. That'd be awful. I just need something that I'm going to be able to mount other stuff to. And I like this. This is the perfect office, guys. I made it with these two windows that are on the opposite of me, and my daughter's still sitting in the truck there, just doing nothing, playing on her phone. And there goes my wife with the dog, struggling. Oh, she's yelling at the dog now. The dog like jerked the leash right off the bat, and you see she's over there like, because what I do is and we will talk about HVAC. It is coming, I promise you. What I do is I put the dog in what I call Cesar lock, because my wife told me about this guy, Cesar Milan. I call him Cesar Milan, that was on like Oprah or something. And he trains dogs. So he gets the dogs to do whatever they want. So he teaches you where it is on the dogs to make them do right, basically. So I do what I call Cesar lock when the dog is in a mood and wants to pull on the chain or pull on the leash. I used to have a separate leash that I called the learning leash. So if the dog wants to be a butthead, it ends up being counterproductive for the dog. But I just changed the position of the thing, and the dog literally can't get away from you. Oh, look, yeah, I see her right now. She's dancing by the window. I like that. That's why I love her, man. She's dancing by the window. It's perfect. All right. Well, you know what? I should do the sponsor stuff. I'll do the sponsor stuff early in the show. Then we'll go on to the HVAC stuff, which is going to be our equipment manual. We can talk about that. If you guys want to pop on the air here and talk to me, you can. We'll do that in a little bit as well. But real quick, let's talk about some sponsor stuff first. And I'll get some new sponsor tabs here because I had the same NAVAC tab I've had for like the last couple of weeks. I have to make a few different ones. The expander is just a new thing. They have their powered expander that's battery powered, like the flaring tool. So that's a pretty big deal because as far as I know, they're the only people that offer that. So they have the battery powered flaring tool, they have the expander, they have their battery powered vacuum pumps. So they're building a larger and larger platform for battery powered HVAC tools. Whereas back in the day, you wouldn't have any of this stuff. So now they're kind of building up this big platform of them. So that's really good. It's really nice to be free of the cords and free of the strain of the hand. So that's where NAVAC comes into play. Their motto is empowering you to work smarter. You can find out more at navacglobal.com, and you can purchase all of their stuff, or most of it, at TrueTechTools.com, which we'll switch over to. TrueTechTools.com is a place online that you can find training materials. You can find a ton of HVAC test gear, and you can get a 8% off discount when you check out using the Shop Talk promo code. So make sure you do that because we are partners with them, and the more people that use the code, the better we look and the better the partnership is. So that's a good way to support the show and save yourself some money. And you can get all sorts of stuff there. The refrigeration technology stuff, which is where we're going next, like their coil cleaners, Nylog white, Nylog blue, and I don't think there's any Nylog red anymore. The coil cleaners, which I already mentioned, the spray aerosol coil cleaner, which I like the best. That's the red one in the top left corner for those of you on YouTube. Really easy to take up when you're doing maintenances. Put them in the bag or the cart. I used to have a little cart I would wheel around going to the apartment maintenances. I think a lot of you do that because I saw some carts online. And I see people periodically with carts full of tools. I did the same thing when I had that particular call, which was once or twice a year we ran in and did like maintenances on like 52 apartments. I'd load up the cart. I'd wheel it up there. Luckily, one of the buildings had an elevator. The other two did not. Well, the other three did not technically, but one of the other three was just a really small building. It was nice to have some of that mobility, have some of that coil cleaner that was easy to use. So that's why I suggest that. RefridgeTech.com to go to their website, or you can go to TrueTechTools.com and buy a lot of their stuff there with that same Shop Talk discount code. EWC controls. The BM Plus 3000 zone panel will focus on that. A lot of I'm trying to think of the word here. Customizability? That seems like way too many syllables to be the proper word, but we're going to go with it. Customizability, the PW. See, I just lost all English right there when I tried to figure out that word. BM Plus 3000, guys. A lot of customizability. You can hook up 3 zones there. You can weight the zones with the staging of the machine. So if only one zone is calling, how I have mine set up is only one stage can be calling. You won't go to that second stage if you have a 2-stage machine, or like mine is a 2-stage blower that kind of works in concert with a variable speed compressor, which is the Bosch. I like to keep it in check, keep it in that lower stage as long as possible to get the highest amount of dehumidification. That is what the BM Plus 3000 does. It gives you that kind of customizability. And there's a lot more. EWCcontrols.com. You can find out more, and you can find this stuff at least 1 or 2 of your supply houses in the town you live should have EWC. Check them out. High quality stuff. The Yellow Jacket dual port manometer. It's coming. 1 more month. The thing is still in the box down here too. The new recovery machine. No promises. It'll come out of the box one day and we'll all really like it. I'll make some videos. We'll really enjoy it. That day's not here yet. It's coming soon. But this is a dual port manometer. You can get that in May and match it up with your Y-Jack probes, which are long range Bluetooth wireless gauges. That's redundant. Wireless Bluetooth gauges. Wireless Wi-Fi Bluetooth gauges. Some of that's incorrect, but it is wireless. It'll go a long, long way, and you can match up with the rest of your stuff to make high accuracy measurements while you're doing your jobs. I look forward to checking some static pressure while I fiddle with stuff. Stay tuned for that. Last but not least, Company Cam, the only app every contractor needs. Cover your butt. Consolidate your photos. Work with your other apps like Java or House Call Pro. Company Cam is going to help your business run more smoothly. It's only 1 click away at companycam.com. All right, all done with the sponsor stuff, like a boss, might I add. Susie Dunn says she likes saving money. Use my discount code. It doesn't work at Food Lion, but it does work at TrueTech Tools. You can't use it at the Walmart, but you can use it at TrueTech Tools. All right. John Harrell says that Hillmore handbrake is next on my cart. I don't even know what that is. Hillmore handbrake? Does Hillmore make a handbrake? Let's check that out. Brandon says he installed zoning an hour ago up there at the Cheese Curd Factory. What's up, everything HVACR? Dylan Godwin says, if you haven't already insulated, I would have said you could use sound deadening version of rock wool insulation. Well, that would have been good. Yeah, as I look around at all my fiberglass insulation here, which I'm breathing in, as the guy said, which he's right. I need to cover it up. Yeah, it would have been good. There's probably a lot of stuff I could have done differently. A lot of guys were like, why didn't you spray foam this? I was like, you paying? And then there was no more. There was no more talking about it. It's a question of, it's real life versus theoretical. It's like, hey, man, I got the iManifold over here. What do you have? Analog gauges. Unless you want to buy me an iManifold, and then the conversation's over then. Okay, analog seems fine to me. Let's go with the analog. Brandon says I should try some of these cheese curds. Might be a good idea. I like cheese. I could do well in Wisconsin. All right. So we're going to go to this manual here, and this manual is the 4HP18V. Installation instructions for this Duquesne Lynx unit. I was just blown away that there was another Bosch out there lurking in the wilderness, unknown to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read about it. But what I actually did was I got into the manual here, and let's bring it up on the screen, and I'm going to make it bigger. It's hard for me to see this stuff. Is that big enough, dudes out there? Well, that's too big. Yeah, that's better right there. I think that's everybody. Think that looks pretty good right there. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, let's scroll down here to page number 4. And I highlighted some things that I thought were they're not just random things, but they jump out at me, or I thought they would be good to go over, whether it be for early guys in the trade or the later guys in the trade. Something that jumped out when I went by the clearance here is that the service box clearance for this unit, or control box, I guess is what they're saying, 30 inches. I don't know if that's normal, but as I recall, most of the units that I put in that had a corner-mounted control box, which is right down here on the edge of this. I don't know if you guys can see the the cursor on the screen or not. But it's usually like 18 inches. So I don't know. It seems like that's a lot of space right there. But I know they have that inverter board in there, so I guess whenever the capacitors rupture and blow the door off that thing, being 30 inches away is going to save your life. I think that's probably it. Between the units, you have to have 24 inches. Against the wall, 6 inches. So that's pretty good. You can be pretty close to the walls, which everybody likes. But it looks like these units are going to be facing away from the wall with their line sets and stuff. Because being 6 inches from the wall, you're never going to have 30 inches. So technically, you're going to have to be facing the other way, which homeowners hate. Running the lines to the outside and turning them in, no homeowner likes that. They're like, can you turn it toward the wall? I said, but then I can't reach it. We don't care about you. Okay, that makes sense. That's about right. So I thought that jumped out at me. I don't know if that's normal for you guys, if you see a lot of that, but I didn't think typically they were that big as far as the clearances they were supposed to have. Man, oh man. All right, let's see. So here we have the line set size. This is pretty standard stuff. You see, they're all 3/8 liquid lines, 2 ton, 3 ton, 4 ton, and 5 ton. They don't make any intermediate sizes, I guess, because it's variable speed. Suction lines go up to 1 1/8. That's kind of big. It's hard to handle that 1 1/8. Yow. 7/8 for the 4 ton, 3/4. Nothing too spectacular there. I always like this right here. It has the filter dryer thing. It says, filter dryer. The filter dryer is very important for proper system operation and reliability. If the dryer is shipped loose, it must be installed by the installer in the field. Unit warranty will be void if the dryer is not installed. Okay. I wonder if they're going to check, though. You know what I'm saying? This compressor's bad. Is there a filter dryer? Sure. Okay. All right, here's your new compressor. I mean, what are they going to do? If they come out there to your job or something, they'll probably be pretty ticked off. But, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to do much about it. Refrigerant piping. Use only refrigerant-grade copper tubes. Split systems may be installed up to 50 feet of line set, no more than 20 feet vertical, without special consideration. All right, 50 feet. So beyond 50 feet is their long line set guide. Interesting. Do not let refrigerant lines come in contact with foundation. How many people have learned that concrete and copper don't like each other? You put them together, they split up. They don't last. It's like a bad marriage. They do not last. Concrete and copper, they don't get along. So I know that I like the part about the bulb mounting. Let's see where that's at. TXV bulb mounting. I think I went too far, actually. No, here it is. So it shows how to remove a piston, I think. No, not just put in a TXV, it looks like. And I like it because they have the bulb mounting. So on the lines smaller than 7/8, you mount the sensing bulb at either the 3 or 9 o'clock position. But on 7/8 and larger lines, you mount the sensing bulb at either 4 or 8 o'clock position. My question is, how big of a difference do you think it makes? Do you think it makes a big difference? One thing that I know is that a lot of times people don't read these manuals because anybody who's been a service tech for more than a couple of days knows that out there in the field, everything that you see is not done by the manual. In fact, many things are not done by the manual. So it's interesting to see how these things are mounted. I don't know why the mounting is just slightly different for 7/8 and larger than 7/8, or I guess smaller than 7/8 and 7/8 and larger. Why it's so different? I guess it's the way the refrigerant runs through the piping. It's keeping you in a location that's better for that. But I don't know. That kind of blows my mind. I don't know. I have to ask somebody. When someone comes on the air with me, when one of these guys comes on the air with me, these professional guys who know lots of stuff, maybe they can answer this question. I don't know. Maybe you guys know the question or the answer to the question. And I'm going to tell you this, guys. If you do want to call in, you can. I'm not going to put it like, let me edit that so it's a little bit different, because I want it to be the little ticker across the bottom of the screen. If you want to call in, you can, to comment on this stuff. If you know the answer to anything or why they do something, feel free to do so. I know that I was looking at flowing nitrogen as well, because back in the day, I never saw flowing nitrogen in the manuals, at least not the ones that I was reading. But here we see that flow regulated nitrogen at 1 to 2 psig through the low side refrigeration gauge set into the liquid line service port valve and out of the vapor line service port valve. So it has it flowing in the liquid line and out the vapor line. So following the air conditioning cycle of refrigeration and coming back out again, it's only 1 to 2 psig. So to get 1 to 2 psig and really stick to that low amount, you're going to need one of those flow regulators. You can't just use the bottle. I guess if you're really, really, really good at that, you can use the bottle. But I kind of hesitated to adjust the actual nitrogen regulator that's directly on the bottle a lot, because it seems like it would wear it out a lot sooner. It would be better to have the flow gauge for that. Steve says about the TXV mounting bulb, it's about the oil sitting in the bottom of the suction line. Oh, pretty interesting. Okay, maybe that's what it is. So I guess, is there more oil sitting in the bottom of one of those two lines? And what is the effect of the oil? Is it making the temperature seem higher or lower? That's where I'm confused. As my daughter gets out of the truck, drops her lunchbox on the ground, slowly retrieves it. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. 1 to 2 psi, when the whole time I thought it was going to be 5 psi like I've heard of in the past. Sorry for the little pauses, guys. Still a little bit of coughing going on. I like this wrap the service valves. I see a lot of that. Skipping the wrapping the service valves, you can get old fried valve. What happens when you braze a service valve and you don't wrap it? It overheats all the little connectors, all the little gaskets on the inside, and then you have some problems. Sometimes that valve might leak by, as I found personally. That valve will kind of start leaking refrigerant out of it and maybe rupture, as I did one time, and tried to blame it on somebody else because I was afraid and young. But yeah, you really do have to wrap those valves pretty good or use some sort of heat blocking compound like the putty or the spray gel stuff. A little bit more on brazing the line set. I know that wasn't, I know what I wanted to get to, the evacuation. That's on page 12. Okay. So evacuate the system. I thought this was really interesting right here, and I'll follow this procedure. A, open both manifold valves and start the vacuum pump. Okay, so far so good. Evacuate the line set and indoor unit until a slight vacuum is indicated on the micron gauge, approximately 23,000 microns or 21.01 inches of mercury. During the early stages of evacuation, it is desirable to close the manifold gauge valve at least once. A rapid rise in pressure indicates a relatively large leak. If this occurs, repeat the leak testing procedure. So I think personally, if you are testing for leaks with the vacuum, you were going to find the leak that it's mentioning on this manual. You're going to find it during the nitrogen testing process, which you always want to do the nitrogen testing process before you do the vacuum. You don't want to skip that and use the vacuum as leak testing, because I think that's a big waste of time. It's easier just to get the nitrogen there. Nitrogen is dry. Seems like that'd be good for the system anyway, just to run it through the system. So I always advocate for making sure to do the nitrogen test. I think everybody does that anyway. Next thing it says, let's see, if this occurs, repeat the leak testing procedure. Note the term absolute pressure means the total actual pressure above absolute zero within a given volume or system. Absolute pressure in a vacuum is equal to atmospheric pressure minus vacuum pressure. Interesting. So it's throwing a few tips in there right there. When absolute pressure reaches 23,000 microns, 29.01 inches of mercury, perform the following. Close the manifold gauge valves. Close the valve on the vacuum pump. Turn off the vacuum pump. Disconnect the manifold gauge center port hose from the vacuum pump. Attach a manifold center port hose to a nitrogen cylinder with pressure regulator set to 150 psig and purge the hose. Open the manifold gauge valves to break the vacuum in the line set indoor unit. So this is kind of sounding like one of those triple vacuums the carrier manuals had in them before. So you're breaking the vacuum that you pulled down to 23,000 microns with nitrogen. All right, let's go to part D here. Shut off the nitrogen cylinder and remove the manifold gauge hose from the cylinder. Open the manifold gauge valves to release the nitrogen from the line set and indoor unit. Reconnect the manifold gauge to the vacuum pump. Turn the pump on and continue to evacuate the line set and indoor unit until the absolute pressure does not rise above 500 microns, 29.9 inches of mercury within a 20-minute period after shutting the vacuum pump and closing the manifold gauge valves. So, you have a 20-minute decay period after you pull the vacuum. And this is not a triple evacuation. This is just doing it one time and breaking the evacuation with nitrogen, then completing the evacuation down to 500 microns. And as you see, you don't get to 500 and stop. You get below 500, you have your decay period, and after your decay period, it has to still be below 500, which is a good point because I know it's tempting just to get to 500 and shut it off and go, good, everything's fine. I'm going to move on now. When the absolute pressure requirement above has been met, disconnect the manifold hose from the vacuum pump and connect it to a cylinder of HFC 410A positioned to deliver liquid refrigerant. Open the manifold gauge valve 1 to 2 psig in order to release the vacuum in the line set and indoor unit. So that's pretty easy stuff right there. I thought it was interesting because it's not really one of the like triple evacs or even a typical evacuation. It's just breaking it once and then bring it up like that. And I wonder, why can't you just run that vacuum down the first time? I think that they're guessing that running this nitrogen through the system is going to help you evacuate faster. Maybe it's going to free up particles in the far reaches of the system. I'm not sure. If you guys know, feel free to call in. We could talk about vacuum, how you do your vacuum. Do you do it like this? Is there a different method you use? Oh, and here's a nice thing. A little warning up on the screen right here. Possible equipment damage. This is something we talked about in the past. Avoid deep vacuum operation. Do not use compressors to evacuate a system. Extremely low vacuum can cause internal arcing and compressor failure. Damage caused by a deep vacuum operation will void the warranty. So we've heard that plenty of times, how if you run the compressor in a vacuum, it can cause arcing to occur. So there's something in the manual that actually supports people that say, hey, you really shouldn't be doing that. Don't do it. It's bad. So that's good. Now you can go say that the Lynx manual says I shouldn't be doing that. Excuse me for one moment. I should have taken that cough syrup like my wife said. All right. So there's a picture of the board that they use. Let me see if I have that here. Now, this is the board on the Duquesne Lynx, and as you can see, they have a transformer out there, have your high voltage wiring. You can see those capacitors and choke coils and all that stuff you usually see on variable speed controller boards. So it is a variable speed unit. There's a thing about charge mode here. A little thing about thermostat wire. It really was an interesting part. You can see some of the stuff they have here if we just wired it up because it wires up normal. And let me put it back on the screen here. I'm sitting here talking, not showing you guys. So there's the board I was talking about right here with the capacitors on it. And you can see this familiar controls for your variable speed unit. And there's our thermostat wiring. So it is basic thermostat wiring, conventional thermostat wiring, just like the Bosch. Here's the jumpers and terminals for the outdoor unitary control. You can see it looks fancy. It's nice. It's good. But, you know, it's basic stuff. It's a basic way to do something that's not as basic, I guess, just like the Bosch stuff. Now, on page 18 here, we have a heat charging mode, which I thought was pretty interesting. It says charge mode jumper operation in the heat pump heating mode. On applications with a conventional 24-volt AC non-communicating heat pump thermostat, the charge mode jumper must be installed on the charge mode pins after providing a heat compressor demand to the unit without an O reversing valve signal to initiate the charge mode. Heating blower demand must also be provided to initiate high-speed blower operation on the indoor unit. The compressor and the outdoor fan motor will begin to ramp up and reach 100% design capacity within 3 minutes. They will continue to operate at 100% design capacity for the duration of the charge mode. It was interesting to me because they said in this manual that you could charge this thing in heating with subcooling, which I thought was really, really interesting, which I've never heard before. It's always been weigh it in. That's what you have to do. You can't charge things with subcooling in the wintertime. So it was interesting. That's the first time I've seen that. I don't know if you guys have seen that before or not. Another thing about line set diameter here and how much charge you add per foot. It's pretty standard stuff. 0.6 ounces per 1 foot is pretty typical when you get beyond the 15-foot standard charge that the factory puts in the machine. I think pretty much everybody in the residential market does about 0.6 ounces per foot. Over here we have a torque table, and I've never seen this before, where you have the torque table in the manual. I'm beginning to think I never read the manual before. That's what the problem is. Because you have all the different torques for the different things. You have the machine screws, sheet metal screws, valve stems, stem caps, compressor bolts. Have you guys ever seen something like this in a manual where it tells you even the tiniest screw, how many inch-pounds of torque you can put on it? So I thought that was pretty neat. When you actually read through these manuals, you get a lot of information. There's some more information about charging for systems using a TXV on the indoor evaporator and outdoor temperature above 60 degrees, charging cooling mode using the subcooling method and table provided on the access panel. For systems below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, charge in heating mode using a subcooling method and table provided on the unit access panel. So interesting, you can actually use subcooling in the heating mode. That's what I was referring to before. I thought it was written up there, but it's right there. Pretty cool, actually. So you can actually do a, I guess, pretty accurate charge in heating whenever you have your subcooling reading, which I just naturally doubt because I've never seen that happen before. It's always been inaccurate in heating mode, which is scary, which means I would be afraid to do it. There's one last thing I wanted to show you about the preventive maintenance, what it suggests for you to check on preventive maintenance. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's what you check on preventive maintenance according to the Lynx system. You check motor operation. It's vague. Ductwork air leaks. I know everybody's checking those ductwork air leaks on preventive maintenance, right? Hold on a second. You guys are checking that, right? I want to turn off this thing so I can look straight at you. You guys are checking for your ductwork air leaks on your preventive maintenance. I hope so. Coil and drain pan cleanliness, indoor and outdoor. Got to clean them coil pans. That's right. Okay. Electrical component operation and wiring check. I think so. I think we're all doing that. Proper refrigerant level and refrigerant leaks. Okay, yeah. If we don't have the proper refrigerant level, we are then checking for leaks, but I'm charging people for that. That's not on PM. Proper airflow. Check that the first time, and we'll take a baseline against that with static pressure, I guess. Drainage of the condensate. Yeah, I can hook a shop back up to a drain line. Yep. Air filter performance. Change a dirty filter. That's what that is. Blower wheel alignment, balancing, and cleaning. Okay, I don't clean blowers on preventive maintenance, that's for sure. If it's dirty, then we have to do a little extra thing for that. Proper defrost operation. Yeah, we'll do a little forced defrost and check that out. Some of that seems like something I do. Some of it does not. Let's see. All right, guys. I see Joe's out there. Joe, you can call in, man. I got a cough so bad, Joe. I need you to call in just so I can talk to you for a few minutes. Joe, I miss you. Will you call in and help me? Linux always has the best manuals. I get a Linux. Oh, this is a Linux manual. I guess it's Duquesne, right? So I guess that is the best manual. Yeah, I like reading through this thing because you actually learn a lot about just general HVAC stuff. I didn't realize how much would be if you really broke it down in the manual and went like bit by bit. You can really learn a lot of stuff. And Joe, I think you missed the part about the TXV bulb and stuff. There's even more stuff. One thing I will say while I wait for Joe to call in, which I know he's going to do, is we will have information. If I do come on the air tomorrow, we'll have information about that new job I was talking about as far as I'm working with a company that's looking for an HVAC trainer. I have all the particulars on the position. I'm trying to put together a couple slides so I can show you guys what it's all about. I'll either have that tomorrow or I'll have it on Monday, so stick around for that. I'll probably make a separate video just about that so you guys can just see it. In case you miss a show, you won't have to miss out on potentially a really cool job opportunity as a trainer. So I will try to get that up tomorrow. I don't know. I might have to come on tomorrow. I really do love streaming. So I should put these walls up, but I might have to come on tomorrow. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to call in for a few minutes. If no one wants to call in, we will wrap it up for today. Frankly, for some reason, this coughing is worse when I come in here with all the insulation than when I'm not in here. Okay, that makes sense. But I'd rather be in here streaming with you guys. Coming up soon, the mini split video for this particular room I'm sitting in. I will be filming it. We'll go through the process. I will show how I cut the flares off the air handler and braze it. I will, let's see, what else do we have? We'll have some torque wrench stuff probably. A little bit of power tools, building a stand out there with the miter saw and the circular saw and stuff. We'll have all sorts of fun putting in this mini split. It'll be a lot of fun sitting in here when it's not 85 degrees. I can tell you that much. That'll be a lot better as well. That'll be coming up probably, I don't know, about a year from now, based on the current speed of this place. I do have electricity, which is nice, but, I'm not a fast mover on these house projects when, have work to do. 5 minutes. Joe needs 5 minutes. What can we do for 5 minutes while we wait for Joe that I won't be coughing my guts up? I know what we can do. All right, I have a good idea, guys. I have a really good idea. I'm going to bring up some YouTube because I had a lot of comments that were good. We've been putting out a lot of videos, a lot of good comments, and I'm going to try to find some of them because I think that will suffice. Is Ralph going to help you install the mini split? I do not require help for a tiny baby mini split. Come on, Steve. I don't think so. Hey, if it breaks, maybe. I don't know. All right, we have a lot of stuff. Okay, on the Goodman video I just did, I'm going to just go through some comments since we're having fun here waiting for old Joe. On the Goodman video I released this morning, says, how bad is Goodman? From when I was talking to Jessica, we were talking about why Goodman is thought of as bad. Is it really bad? Just a little brief video. Mark says, we install Carrier and Goodman at the company I work for, and in the 2 years that I've been here, I haven't been back to one service call behind Goodman, but Carrier all the time. I see a lot of people saying that. Next up is on the Duquesne video. It says, Duquesne's rocked. Seriously underrated equipment. I never thought Duquesne's rocked. I thought Duquesne's were awful. My general understanding was Duquesne's were the worst. But it's coming around, man. I never put one in before. It's just something you hear and some impressions you get. It's like Concord. No one ever says, the best unit on the market is Concord. No one's ever said that before. Not even the people at Concord say that. Let's see what we have here. On the HVAC owner works 7 days a week. Rob says, I work with an older guy in the gas company who is the same way. However, he's missed kids' birthdays, games, graduations, etc., and ruined marriages over it. I commend him on his work ethic, but wearing it as a badge of honor at the expense of your family and not experiencing life is not what I want to feel like when the time comes. Just my opinion. I kind of agree with that. I hate to work 7 days a week. I know that Albert's doing that, but as far as family, they're all there with him, so I guess that's good. Albert, all of his sons are working at work with him, is what I'm saying. JR says, bro, are you from my area looking for help? JR, I'm putting in one mini split in this little building, and if I can't do this myself, I should probably, I'm already retired. I should double retire. But no, it's just I'm putting in the 7,000 BTU mini split in here, and I just got to put the wall on first. So we'll see if I actually get the wall on within the next 3 or 4 days. That'll be the hardest thing for me to do. Just nail the wall to the wall. Yeah. All right, we have another comment here. Let's see. Sup. That's from Eddie. He's in the chat. He says, sup, Zach. Sup, Eddie. I see you down there. We have, how bad is Goodman? Larry Blake says, biggest gripe is the panels won't go back on right. Amen, Larry. Amen. Too much flex in the construction. DIY, cobble them up. Oversized and mismatched. I won't install equipment I didn't purchase from my suppliers. It's usually oversized Goodman equipment they bought online, and they expect you to make it work. They get so pissed when I say I won't touch it. They for sure won't come back together. Whenever you take the top off a Goodman, it goes fluke. We've talked about that before. It just bursts forth, and you have to put the top back on by kind of sandwiching it together with tape and stuff. So that's right on the money. Comfort Solutions AC and Heating, which I think is Doug, a different Doug. Goodman is the Joe Biden of it's definitely Doug. Okay. Doug's a huge Republican. I know it's Doug now. Goodman is the Joe Biden of HVAC. No joke, Goodman is cheap, not in price, but in quality, just like Korean cars and Tesla crap. So Doug hates Tesla, he hates Korea, Biden, and Goodman. I'm with Clint. I want a 2-day work week as well. That would be perfect. And let's do last but not least. If Joe's not on by the time I read this next comment, I'm giving up for today. It's just over. And I'm going to read a comment from Joe's service called Debacle, is when Joe worked on the wrong unit. Previously, he talked about that on his show. This is from Everything HVACR. It says, it happens. I tried everything at midnight on a walk-in cooler and found it was the wrong one. TXV's adjusted, headmaster 2 pinched off, trying everything. Oh, look who it is. It's Joe. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Hey.
Hey. How's it going?
How do I good. I want to see how I sound with my fancy headset driving in my noisy work van. It'll be the real test.
Well, I think you sound fine.
Yeah, I'm not moving right now.
Oh, okay. So, well, that's perfect. Don't move.
I'm going home.
Oh, wait, I see the test. You have to test it out. I got you.
Yeah. I gotta test it out.
Yeah, you got to
See
test
its
it out.
limits.
Yeah.
Find its limits.
The guys were really enjoying your service call thing I put out where you went to the wrong unit, and they were all talking about how they went to the wrong units themselves. So that's a universal thing, I guess.
Yeah, but then you had to like single me out and like put my picture up there and be like,
Oh, you saw it.
yeah, you blasted me.
I didn't blast. Hey, man, come on.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good thumbnail.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said I could still charge them, so I did. I haven't
Heck
gotten paid
yeah.
yet, though.
Hey, people getting bonus service.
I know they got both units checked.
I know, right?
Rewired.
Yeah. No, you can still charge them for sure. I'd charge them more because of the pain and
Yeah.
suffering you went through.
Right. I mean, let's think about the bright side. At least I didn't run a whole new wire and spend a half a day there and then figure it out.
Yeah, but a new wire, that's a perk. That's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you're good. I mean,
Yeah.
I just saw, like my buddy Justin Gonzalez used to tell me, in Florida, most guys sell 5-ton units out the back of their truck for $2,700, and the unit breaks the next day because there's no gas in it because they didn't leak check it. So you're going above and beyond, Joe. You're putting extra
That
wires
must be
in.
pre-inflation because I don't know anyone that makes a 5-ton unit that's still 2,700 unless it's just a condenser.
It was
We're talking about a condenser
pre-inflation.
swap.
It was a 5-year-old story.
Yeah.
You don't remember Justin Gonzalez?
Like $3,700.
Oh yeah, it went up now. You don't remember this guy talking about how the Ameristar screws were made just slightly larger than the?
Absolutely. How could I forget him? He was great. I really miss him.
I miss him too. I think he sells cars now though.
You know who else? Who's the other guy that I missed too? He was like an electrician.
Hernandez.
Yeah, Justin Hernandez.
Yeah.
Remember?
Hernandez, and what was your other character?
Fernandez.
Fernandez. There's like 5 different versions of these YouTube.
Yeah, I had because I've never seen him so mad as he got when I started like cloning his name. So I had to have like Fernandez. I had Hernandez, and then Fernandez. Or did I already say that? But I don't know. I had 3 of them.
The thing is that someone did that to your name too.
Oh yeah, and I don't. I'll just go ahead and let it be known that I don't do any fake names. So if there's fake names floating around out there, it's actually not me.
I don't think there's any fake names anymore.
Choir boys honor, like Scouts honor.
Hey, you better watch out, yeah, because you're getting in deep water now because you're making promises.
Yeah, for real. I don't have any fake names. I don't go on the chats with any fake names.
Well, man, that's good, Joe.
I did it when it was fun to mess with people like Hernandez and Ted, but Ted got so mad at me. Justin got mad at me too. I feel like I don't think people would get as mad anymore, but it's not as fun if they're not getting really mad.
Well, I don't know. It was like we went to a small school, like they had the schools back in the 1800s where everybody went to like the church house and everybody knew each other. I feel like that's what it was back then, and now it's like this big ocean of people and no one knows each other, so you can't do that anymore.
I know. Yeah, I really got in at a good time to meet you and everyone, because now it'd be like small fish in a big pond type thing.
Yeah,
So how do I sound now? Now I'm cruising down the road at 50 miles an hour. Is it still sounding pretty good, or do you get some background stuff?
There's like some kind of weird whooshing every now and then. It's not bad.
Okay.
But, you can tell a little bit. Did you pull over?
No.
I don't think you should. I mean, it sounds fine.
No.
Hey, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Wait, so wait a second.
Someone was triggered by your fiberglass in the room. Like, oh my gosh, seriously, people? Like, what do you think we as HVAC techs do? That fiberglass just sitting in his wall is going to bother him?
Yeah, I don't think that's what's making me
I
cough.
got triggered that they got triggered.
You got triggered over the triggering. See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the right wing issue. We get triggered over the people who do trigger.
Yeah, it's like, the fiberglass in the wall. Are you up there, like, rubbing it before you sit down, or do you just leave it alone?
Well, everybody licks it for good luck, right? Is that just a
Your
thing
son
that I
doesn't
do?
think it's cotton candy, does he?
Well, I tell the kids it's cotton candy. They will not go near it. They're petrified. Like whenever I put the stuff in, they will not go near it. I'm like, it doesn't bother me. It's
Yeah.
like, you've been
Yeah.
around it your whole life. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I could tell a quick story about that. Back in the day, I'm working with my dad. I'm probably 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
And,
Wonder years.
You know, he's up in the attic working, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. So there's all these insulation bats up there. So I stack a couple up on on some wood, and I sit down on it. I got a little cushion, and my dad's like, I was hard-headed. And I still am. And my son is hard-headed, just like I was, too. I can tell already. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to sit here on this cushion. And he's like, all right. Go ahead, man. My butt, it's so bad. I still remember it to this day. That's why I'm telling the story. It's like, oh, stop, Dad. You just want me to, you just can't let me be comfortable.
It did bother me too. Like whenever I wrapped ductwork and stuff, whenever I came home, my arms would be like all speckled and red for like the first couple hours until I took a shower and stuff.
Yeah, take a cold shower.
Yeah.
Tech tip.
Hey.
Cold shower. Don't take a hot shower because it'll open your pores up and make the fibers go deeper. So as cold as you can stand, wipe down. Don't wipe the cloth from the elbow to the palm down.
I'm going to label this video "How to Shower."
There you go. Yeah,
I think people will tune in for curiosity.
All right, so quiz is, did you feel more itchy with pink or yellow insulation versus the white insulation?
Okay, so the only time I remember seeing white besides on the wall now was some of the flex was white. I remember.
Yeah, some of the wrap was white too. Like I have some white stuff.
I don't remember dealing with white duct wrap though in a roll, but I might have.
Yellow for you?
I remember yellow. I remember pink.
It's probably a mind game, but I feel like more itchy with yellow insulation.
I don't know. I don't remember which one caused the most issue. I just remember I would have issues after a day of duct work, and like you said, I just happened to be taking a colder shower because it would be like hot 99% of the time. So I would take a colder shower, not cold, mind you, just cooler. And I would always feel better afterwards. I guess it was just by accident that it was colder and helped.
Yeah, it's almost got to be like shocking, like uncomfortably cold though, in my opinion. Because you know how when you just took a shower and then you go and you sit down and you put your arm on the armrest and you're like, oh, I still feel like needles,
Yes, I know.
Feel that feeling?
Yes.
So, like, if you can stand it as cold as you can stand it, but on a hot day your pores are open anyway. It's already inside there, but
it's in deep.
They're in there deep.
In your brain.
Hey, have you ever taken a tour of the Goodman? Did you ever go to the plant or anything?
The Goodman plant?
Yeah.
Do they have like a plant where they make those? I thought they just kind of made them like the back of somebody's yard.
Oh, what? Flux stuff?
No, man. I'm talking about the machines. I thought it was just some guy's yard in Texas, and they just pulled up and they dumped out some metal stuff. So can y'all make a couple more of them Goodmans?
Started. That's how it started, apparently.
Harold Goodman's house.
Yeah. We should do that,
I don't think, you know what, Joe?
Together some.
I can imagine.
Design a unit.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think. Hey, you want to come on board with this idea? First of all, no, I'm probably never going to go on a factory tour because I fall asleep. But I do have an idea about putting like an old air conditioner or heat pump, it doesn't matter, and creating a vat of water and running a whole bunch of chilled water coils to various buildings on my property underground and have that controlled. The temperature.
Yeah. You would make Eric's day.
I could. Hey, you know what refrigerant I'm going to use?
Propane.
Propane. That's right.
Because that's what he was like. Hell, he would hug you.
You know what? I can imagine being hugged by Eric, but I mean, I guess I'll take it. I mean, any kind of affection, I'll take it at this point in my life.
Yeah. And if you've never met Eric, but for him to hug somebody, it's really special.
Yeah, it would be special. It would be awkward though. Actually, it would be unexpected.
For you or for him?
I don't know. Well, probably for him because if he hugged me, it'd be like weird for me. But then like I'd grab like the back of his head or something. Like Eric, this is nice.
Weird. Oh yeah.
I don't think he'd like that. Oh, hey Joe, you put in Amana units, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this Adrian in the chat here says, what about the Amana Goodman lifetime warranty? He's installing a system tomorrow. What is your opinion of having a lifetime warranty on a machine?
Well, let's just facts are facts here, okay? It's not lifetime warranty. It's 99 years, all right? So,
Is that technically true?
and whose lifetime is it? Are we talking like my lifetime, your lifetime, the unit's life? Like well, it broke, life's up. Sorry.
Yeah,
You know?
the lifetime of the homeowner that owns the house, and the life is over when he moves. Is that
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Okay, so I've done a couple. Yeah, it seems like it's not a bad deal. I mean, it's covering the compressor. If the compressor fails, they give you a new whole unit. So, my whole thing is like, what happens after this conversion? And
Yeah.
they don't make 410A units anymore.
What about your communicating system? In like 5 years, it probably won't match up with the next unit that's out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so far for the last 15 years, I'm surprised they're still available. So
Yeah.
you could go down and you could get a 2008 unit. You go get a brand new 2022 unit. Same thing.
Is that true? Like the very first Goodman communicating unit was like for heat pump DSZC. Is that the first one?
That's Goodman DSZ.
Well, ASZC.
No, there was no C back in the day because it still had a contactor in it.
But it wasn't communicating then, was it?
No, it wasn't.
So they had those, and they had the lifetime warranty on those. But now if you get a communicating system that has all its bells and whistles, I would be worried that its lifespan would be shorter as far as what it would match to. Like whenever the compressor died and you had to get a new one, then that air handler, which is speaking with it, would no longer be able to talk to the new one, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean they've kept that pretty stable too, though. I think and that's a question I can't answer because I know they have that whole Comfort Bridge system, but as far as I know, it's still ComfortNet. It would probably still talk to it, to be honest with you. I mean,
ComfortNet, that's what it is.
Yeah, ComfortNet.
I wrote down Comfort Talk.
Then the Comfort Bridge is like the whole, you do the setup on your Bluetooth phone nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've heard about the boards. I've never done one of those before. Have you?
I did one because I stopped doing the Amana stuff kind of when that came out. But
was it thumbs up, thumbs down on the Amana Bluetooth?
It was not bad. It was not bad. I mean, I would have rather, personally, for this one unit, I would have rather been able to just do the dip switches because I had to go figure this whole thing out, like download the app, figure out how to connect it. Once it was connected, it was, it pretty much.
I don't know, man. That sounds like it's not a ringing endorsement.
I don't know. I mean, I wish I kind of wish my Ream units would do that. Of course, not to bash Ream, but half the time that what the dip switches say in the manual is not actually what you get when you set them that way, and that's frustrating.
What? Is that for real? Good grief.
100%, yeah.
Oh, but Ream is ComfortNet too, right?
No, they got EcoNet.
EcoNet. Were they ComfortNet before? I thought they were on the same platform.
I do think that they did use that same Emerson platform. If you're right. Dallas, if he's here, would know.
Man, Dallas. Where's Dallas when you need him? He's put in a couple Reams.
Dallas has been putting in Reams since you or I were born.
I legit think that's true.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. He's been doing it since like early 80s.
Yeah, I don't know how old Dallas.
Still in diapers.
Yeah, I think it was pretty close. I mean, for you, it might have actually been real close. Because Dallas is probably in his 50s, I would guess. So he's been at this.
Yeah.
And every single video he's ever uploaded was just a Ream install and then a warning about it can actually sit that close to a house. It's okay.
Yeah, he's over there in like L.A. and stuff. So I guess property is tight over there.
That's what I hear. That's why I put in those the actual unitary systems that look like mini split condensers. Those big rectangular deals. He's put in a couple of those.
Yeah, and those are weird too. Like, if you've ever done one before, You would think that the air would blow out the front like a mini split does, which makes sense. Why would you? But no, they made it blow the opposite way. It's the weirdest thing.
I did not
I don't
realize that
know
was.
why.
I did not realize that was true. I did not know that.
Yeah, I know the carrier ones do, and it's very odd. Like, why would you want to blow the air at the wall?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I guess because you can clean the outside easier. I don't know.
Yeah, same thing with those stupid wall hung units. You know, they do that too. They blow the air so that the dirty side of the coil is impossible to clean. Hey, engineers, let's reverse this airflow and make the dust collect on the outside where it's real easy to wash down. No, we got to pull air in through the sides and blow it out the front of the coil. Oh gosh.
Well, I
Gosh,
found a
that's
picture of
stupid.
them things. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. This is actually the Heil one because I remember the Heil website really easy because it's Go Heil. But it's one of those, I guess, rear discharge units potentially. Well, you said it was Carrier did it, so Heil probably does it too. then.
Yeah, I think those will be the same too. Like, man, you get that thing all set, nice and expecting it the air to blow out the front, and it's like, what the heck?
That's wild. I've never put in one of these before, so I have no idea.
I haven't either.
It never came
But
up.
I've seen one before, and I was like, yeah, and it's like you can't just you have to get a whole new blade, you know. And why would you want to start messing with that on a brand new unit? But
Nah, I wouldn't. I don't want to put it in this thing. This thing
I
looks
think
like a mini
Hack Free
split.
had a video where someone had done a whole apartment with those on metal stands in a car park, and they were right at the edge of it, but then ended up they're blowing all the heat inside the car park instead of you would think like these are going to exhaust out, so they put them right on the edge,
Yeah.
and then it was like, oh, jeez,
Well, that's interesting.
why do they
Make it
do
nice
that?
and hot.
You know,
Good grief. So that's what happens when you go to mini splits, Joe. What kind of mini splits you put in, Joe? There's a segue.
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi, are you pleased with their performance?
Oh, the one thing I'm not pleased about is I'm about to do a multi-zone one, and then I remembered I had a service call on one. You can't have one in heat and one in cool. You can't. They'll just both shut down. It's like, come on, Mitsubishi. You know?
They'll both shut down for like a
Yeah.
dead period, and then one of them will start.
Nope. They'll both just sit and standby, and the lights will blink, and nothing happens at all.
Like
very
potentially
weird.
forever.
Forever until you set them both to heat or both to cool.
What?
But I'm putting one in a basement, like a finished basement area, and then one's going to be upstairs in a bedroom where it's always hot. So you could potentially have one in heat and one in cool in these shoulder seasons.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about that before I said this is going to be the best system for you to use. It's going to be one outdoor unit, two heads, one in the basement. We'll do one upstairs. It'll be simple. It's like you might have should have done two separate ones, but what I'm going to do to combat that, I think, is you can't get the little module to make them wireless to the Kumo Cloud. They're nationwide back order. Can't buy them. Can't find one to buy. But I was gonna install that at no extra charge for them, just so they could like have it on their phone. That way, if they're in the basement, because it's kind of like a media room, and it's like, you could just pull it up on your phone and turn the upstairs one off, or you can turn the upstairs one off. You can turn the downstairs one to heat, and then stuff like that, instead of being like, okay, now we got to go upstairs, get the remote, turn that one off, go back downstairs. I figure at least it's from their phone, type of thing.
Man,
But I talked to Mitsubishi about it. They're like, yep, you can't even have one in that dry mode and one in cool.
Wait, isn't dry mode cool?
Yeah, well, I thought so. I don't know what exactly it does, to be 100% honest, but I thought it was.
I figured it was just low
yeah.
blower speed.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, so I can't 100% confirm it, but the lady or the people on tech support said, yep, even dry mode, they'll both just go into standby.
Well, not to sound too simple, but that sounds stupid.
Yeah, and she agreed. I was like, well, that's really dumb. And they're like,
The
yeah,
lady at
we're working
Mitsubishi.
on fixing that.
You think we could do
Hopefully
something about
maybe
that, like a
next.
simple board change or something like that, or just
Yeah,
a
like
program?
like let's have a like a zone board. Says cool priority or majority priority, right? Doesn't
Hmm. Yeah.
So like you should be able to say, hey, cool is a priority. Once we're done with cool, we're gonna shut down that expansion valve. We're gonna let the one get some heat, and then if the cool wants it again, then we'll kind of shut. Doesn't seem like it'll be that hard to do to me, but what
No.
do I know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I don't.
That seems really easy. I guess we need one of those 3-pipe systems, Joe. That's what. Maybe you should have quoted
That's
a
what.
3-pipe
Well,
system,
why would you need that though?
so you can have them
Why
both at the
can't you
same
just?
time.
No, I don't care about having them both at the same time.
Oh man.
Like really, I really don't care about both at the same time. But the whole lock out and go to standby and both of them just sit there and don't do anything seems really dumb. Like we could at least do one and then do the other one and then switch back and do the one.
Yeah. I mean,
You
that
know?
would be fine. That's what my zone panel does inside. There's a little delay, and one of them
Yeah.
goes in, and the other one stops, and they switch over, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, not Mitsubishi though.
Man, it's a shame you don't want. Well, if you did want both of them to run and be in different cycles, that would be a shame since they don't do that.
Exactly.
They should do that. You should put in
Don't
4
sell a
separate
Mitsubishi
units, Joe.
multi-zone and sell them on that.
No, you need 4 separate units, bro. That way you can
Yeah,
maximize
yeah.
your earning potential.
Yeah, but there may be some branch box options that do that. But this is just the simple multi-zone with the outdoor unit with the 4 heads and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is the cheap one, right?
Relatively cheap, and I couldn't believe how much just one outdoor unit is and 2 indoor units.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember buying Mitsubishi way back in the day. It was way more
Yeah,
expensive than
yeah.
everything else that I
But
quoted.
I put some Daikin's in. Daikin's are a lot cheaper.
Are
but
they?
There's no good there's no good disassembly instructions to take apart a modern Daikin. And maybe they have them now, but I'm just not happy with trying to take the Daikins apart. The Mitsubishi is so easy. You pop the cover off, you can take the whole drain pan out, you can take the whole blower wheel out. I mean, it's just really the way to go from a, ownership standpoint and maintenance standpoint, in my opinion.
Yeah. I've never tried, and you're referring to serviceability stuff, right? It's
I
just-
am, yeah. Like I want to be able to come in and kind of clean that whole thing up without setting up that whole bib kit thing, and because that's what I've had to do with the Daikins I've done, is I don't take them apart. I don't really want to break clips. Even the stupid panel just to lift up and get the filters and get it to stay up, it's like I'm a service tech and it's like, what, you don't expect a consumer to do that. And then to take the whole thing off, I'm like trying to be real gentle with the clips and pry and pry and pry. And finally I get one loose and the whole big, top. Now I'm trying to do the other one. And sure enough, it kind of slipped and broke the other tab on me. I'm like, stupid Daikin.
well,
You can't even make it easy to get this top, the little cover that kind of flips up to see the filters off.
the easiest one, potentially. That is supposed to be the one you can just clip up and it will stay, and you can slide out their MERV 500 filter and
So God knows
swap it
how
out.
you're supposed to get the blower wheel out. It's probably like, okay, yeah, just pull the coil out and disconnect the lines. Like, oh, okay, Daikin. That's how it was on some of the older ones. That's what their removal for the blower wheel was like. Just reference removal blower wheel. Just reference the steps for remove evaporator coil, and then step 7, remove blower wheel. It's like, oh, that's helpful, Daikin.
Nice. Good old Daikin. I tell you what, I brought up the speed cleaning thing. Is that what you cleaned it with, the bib?
Mm-hmm.
So did you actually use the speed clean one?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. The HVACR school advertising worked.
Yeah, it works. It works. It's nice. It's it's not perfect. I wouldn't be doing it on someone's really nice wall because you still get a little drip of a stuff and it's important too. They send it with some like clear shipping tape, and that you really take some tape and put it over every little joint to where all the plastic housings meet, because the nasty water will wick down through where the two plastics meet. And then talking about like in the chute for the mini split head.
Yeah.
Tape that really good. And I learned that the hard way. I started to get some black stuff kind of coming down the back of the machine because it was going through there as I was washing it. But once I did that, it worked pretty good. You know, again, like I was saying, it's like it's still scaring me on someone's really nice painted wall.
Well, you're like most people don't want those mini splits on those nice walls.
Yeah, right.
So it doesn't matter if you get it on some of that brown paneling.
All right, brother. Well, I just pulled up into the house. I'm gonna let you go.
No, that's
Been a
cool. I'm
pleasure.
fine. Keep on talking.
Is it about?
No, I'm just kidding.
I gotta go.
You can. Well, wait not to waste any clever time on me. Don't worry about it. No, that's great, Joe. Thank you for
talking to you, man. And I'll holler at you again next chance I get.
Yeah, man. Let me just give you one bit of advice.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
You keep living that dream, and you're going to be successful. All right.
I will. And to that guy who's sounds like he's working himself to the ground that calls in, I want to say, man, enjoy life, though, bro. You gotta enjoy life.
He seems like he enjoys the punishment and unrelenting suffering of work for some reason.
I hope so.
It seems
I
like
hope
it.
he really enjoys it, because at the end of your life, there's more to it than doing HVAC 24/7, 365.
You're right about that, Joe. You're right about that. All right, man.
And read your Bible.
Read your Bible. I can read these people the Bible. Let's see how many numbers we lose. I'll go reach for the Bible right now.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Bye.
Later. There's our buddy Joe Shearer calling in, talking about various things. Here we go. We're going to end up today on a Bible verse that I hadn't planned on doing. Hey, it's okay. It's fine. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's fine. Don't leave. Find something really good here. John. I'm just going to open the book of John. Hey, here, it's perfect. It's going to be good. It's a good lesson for life, okay? Here we are. John chapter 13. Jesus washes the disciples' feet. Before the Passover celebration, Jesus knew that his hour had come to leave this world and return to his Father. He had loved his disciples during his ministry on earth, and now he loved them to the very end. It was time for supper, and the devil had already prompted Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had given him authority over everything, and he had come from God and would be returning to God. So he got up from the table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his waist, and poured water into a basin. Then he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around him. When Jesus came to Simon Peter, Peter said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You don't understand now what I am doing, but someday you will." "No," Peter protested, "you will never ever wash my feet." Jesus replied, "Unless I wash you, you won't belong to me." Simon Peter exclaimed, "Then wash my hands and head as well, Lord, not just my feet." Jesus replied, "A person who has bathed all over does not need to wash except for the feet, to be entirely clean. And you disciples are clean, but not all of you." For Jesus knew who would betray him. That is what he meant when he said, "Not all of you are clean." It was just interesting that Jesus was spending his time cleaning the feet of other people, demonstrating servitude. Someone who has all the power of the universe at his fingertips and demonstrates servitude just a little bit of time before he's actually going to be murdered on earth, something that he could have reversed at any moment. He could have changed the course of events to make it easier on himself, which he did not. He accepted those events and did that for us so that we could be cleaned. That's the demonstration he was making here, speaking to his servitude, speaking to what he did for others, showing us an example of love for our neighbor, for God. And I think it's a great example to set. I hope you guys take something from that. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you want to support the show, you can do so at subscribestar.com/Zach-Ciota. There is links in the description. There is a link in the description for the new job offer I was talking about earlier in the show. We haven't officially released it, but you can go ahead and check that out if you want to. All of our sponsor links. You can like this video. You can listen to this as a podcast. It'll be up here in about an hour or so. I hope you guys have a good Friday. I don't know if I'm streaming tomorrow. I might not. I'm not sure yet. But if I do, I'll see you then. And if not, I will see you on Monday, which we can also say I'll see you on the next one. please consider supporting me at subscribestar.com/Zach-Ciota. I offer my Subscribestar subscribers bonus content podcast as well as giveaways every single month for gift cards.